Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. Have a really awesome question that came in today. And this one came in from Neil of Oz. Okay? And he says, he wrote this originally to one of my instructors who sent it to me, and he said, Mike, I know Don says he lays the club back a little, but his comments can be misunderstood in that he actually lays the club back substantially, as I commented originally. I have videos to suggest this. When you look at the manual, there are no images showing that the club is positioned laying back. By laying back, he's talking about when I transition, the club lays down a little bit, okay? So we take the club back. We take the club back in the ups, in the takeaway all the way up. But when we transition, I've always talked about the club lays down a little bit, lays backwards, okay? So that's what Neil is referencing here. He says, but having videos of Don, I was able to freeze frame his swing, and when his right elbow reaches his hip during the forward upswing, his club is well and truly laid back. Forward upswing means now once it comes in here and I'm starting to go up in there, right about here, the club is kind of laid back. He says, I have software which can track a golfer's swing, and Downswing is very similar to Jim Furyk's. Okay? Now, everybody thinks Jim Furyk has a really goofy swing, but Jim Furyk is almost pure peak performance golf swing. I've said that many times, and if you haven't heard me say it, I'm saying it right now. Where we want to take the club straight back and he catches mitt and up the tree, Jim takes the club slightly outside, turns to his toe line, and from there swings back down and finishes up here in almost a perfect finish. Okay? He spent a couple years, the last few years, he was finishing way left and hitting a lot of pulls and lost his consistency of really stringing drivers. All right? But he's back on track again. But Jim Furyk never gets inside the sacred burial ground. All right? And naturally, when Jim goes outside and transitions, his club lays down a little bit too. Now, we're talking about the club laying down as compared to when Sergio got in really trouble. I mean, he flat laid it off. We're just a little laid off. He was laying it down. Okay? So the key is we got to determine what is the right amount. And naturally, that's what we're going to talk about in a minute. So he says, his club is well and truly laid back, talking about Furyk. He says, I have software which can track golfers' swings, and Don's swing is very similar to Furyk's in that he is so vertical at the top of his swing but lays back prodigiously, as well as good golfers are in this position, including DJ, my son. I think this is the main reason why I struggle with PPGS. Is I was trying to drop the club vertically. Trying to drop vertically with the club in the downswing. Okay? So let's talk about what really has to happen. When you get into reading about and listening on the videos, I talk about there's a secondary spine angle tilt when we transition. We come in here and when the bump happens, right? I'm coming up the top, I ring the bell and I bump, and it's a lateral left shift forward. It causes the lower body runs away from the upper body, which tilts the upper body back. Now when that happens, right, we don't stop by turning the hips, we stop by a little bit of a slide. Now how much is that slide? The belt buckle only move 1 inch, 2 at the max. If you got a fairly narrow stance, as a peak performance width, we like about the width of the shoulders which some people say for a driver. We want that with a driver. So we'll have only about 1 inch slide. When that body goes this way and the shoulders tilt back way, what does that do? My arms are up here, perfect equilateral triangle, down through the elbows, horizontal to the ground, elbows horizontal to the ground. The spine angle tilt with the lateral bump, which is towards the target, makes the club go back this way. But I and you, if you want to make a consistent golf swing, you have to do everything in your mind and make your mind, make your hands and everything else feel like that club is staying vertical. I'm fighting like crazy. In my mind, when I swing a club, I take it back. This is the way I swing it. Straight back, straight up, straight down, and straight up. In my mind, I feel like I'm swinging like that. But when I get back up in here and I transition and that club's going this way, what's hitting it now? Gravity's hitting the head. The head's the heaviest thing on this golf club. It's hitting that head and pulling it down. All right? It's my job to fight that as much as I can. And what am I fighting it with more than anything? The right hand, forearm, and elbow and upper arm. I'm fighting in here, and in my mind, that club is staying just like this, but I know it isn't. If I just let that club fall, then I'll be right back where Sergio Garcia got in all those problems about 3 or 4 years ago, where he actually quit for a year to put his swing back together. Now, he's playing great golf right now, and he's a pure ball striker. He's nice and vertical in the backswing, but I still think he's got a tendency to lay it off still just a little bit too much. What is too much? Well, too much means when you're getting in here and you got trouble squaring the club face up, and that club face is a little bit open, and you start hitting thin heels, and or after that, you try to save and you come back, and now you come a little bit over the top and possibly sticking the club face, the toe in the ground, or hitting it with a little bit too much forward shaft lean likely, which is digging the leading edge in, and you start hitting the ball a little bit chubby. All right? Or so your advice going back and forth on those. So the key is, yes, the club has to lay off. It's because of the secondary spine angle tilt. But it's our job to try to feel and work this hand like crazy. And what does everybody tell you? Don't use your right hand. It's a bad hand, your lower hand on the club. Especially if you're right-handed, this is the one you got the greatest touch, greatest sensitivity, greatest amount of feel, and they're fucking do and control the most with it. And as we know, good grip, pressure from this whole swing starts from takeaway all the way to top, all the way to the finish until I let go. Equal grip pressure in both hands. They must be equal. All right? So the club lays off, but my job is to try to feel like I'm keeping it as vertical as I can. All right? But it's got to have that little bit of layoff because of the secondary spine angle tilt. Okay, so hopefully this explains everything. There's more videos on this, and it's talking about it in the manual, as Neil mentioned. Okay, hopefully this helps you. That's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking with you all again soon.